Hello, hello. Morning, morning. How's everyone doing? Everyone hear me fine? Alright, let's see what we have today. Just test if everything is running. That's for later. And I remember we did turtle a couple of weeks ago. And I forgot to do back attacks and escape straight after. So we'll do that today. So back escapes, and then we'll look a little bit at back attacks if we have time. If we don't, we'll do back attacks on Friday. And just turn this music down. And so back escapes, we probably all have gotten our back takens at some point in our lives. So we're just going to look at the strategies on how to defend it successfully, and the things that go wrong, or things that people might be confused about. The first tip I can give any beginner is knowing the difference between the strong side and the weak side. That will kind of give you insight on what escape to do, and basically you won't make the mistakes as often as people do if they just knew which is the strong side and which is the weak side. The name strong and weak side can be quite confusing at times as well. Sometimes people call it the weak side the underhook side, and the strong side the overhook. But usually, the way I remember anyway, the strong side is the side you're leaning to with your choking arm, which is this one, so it's over the shoulder. And the weak side is the arm underneath over there. So if he's leaning towards that direction, that's the weak side. Strong side over here. But it's your arm that dictates which side you're at. Okay? So just to be clear again, weak side is the underhook side, so that's an underhook there, and the strong side is the overhook one. Don't get fixated too much on their names. Weak side doesn't mean it's weaker, it's just something we call it. So taking a look at it, we have our we're gonna go through strong side first. First we're gonna do the escapes, because it helps us understand the attacks at the same time. So here's our first strong side kind of positioning. We're not dealing with one hook at the moment. This is both hooks in, seat belts in place already. So the person already has our back. So our first thing to look at is check whether my opponent, check what side we're in. Right now we're in the middle, so the person on the middle can kind of dictate, you can kind of choose which side you want to go to be honest. But sometimes you won't have this choice. But first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to control the choking arm, which is the arm over my shoulder. And we call it the choking arm because if Kirsten was to do a rear naked choke on me, it would be this arm that would be doing the chokes. So I get access to that arm as soon as I can. And we can hold it many different ways, but a double wrist control is quite good. And now we're starting our counter by leaning towards that same side. Again, normally you don't have the choice. The person will bring you to that side. But in this case, since I started in the middle, I'm able to do this. So here's where it gets tricky. I've got access to the arm. Now I need to somehow bring that arm over my head so we can escape. And this is the traditional kind of escape that we get taught. Like that. Now there's many different ways of doing this exact same escape, and the simple version is you just want that arm over your head, and basically the person will lose their seatbelt position. So one more time, there. Once you get the arm across, you're pretty much out, but there's a little fight towards the end that most people forget about, and that is the race between the person getting on top and you stuffing this leg. Okay? As soon as the arm goes across, your main concern should be this leg over here. You don't want the person to mount you. So you're going to see me letting go of the wrist and starting to push the leg, so I can at least get some form of half guard in place, so the person doesn't end up on top smashing me. So I'll show the escape one more time. Double wrist control, full to the strong side, bring the arm across, and stuff the leg. So that's our first strong side escape that we tend to do. Our weak side is a little bit more different, but you're happy to know it's a bit easier. So this time I fall to the weak side. Now there's a couple of early things that I'm doing here that's going to help me with the escape, and the first thing is my head positioning. As the person attacking, you always want your head to be on this side, and my fight is to get my head onto the mat there, then my back, then again there's gonna be a little fight of the legs over here, so I push the legs so I can replace my guard once again. On the weak side is generally the side you want to go to if you had an option of escapes. It really depends on where you kind of are in the positioning. So that's our weak side escape. Where things start to get a little bit complicated is when the person only has one hook, like this. Often it happens, she passed my guard and I turtle. She was able to get one hook but not the other. In terms of counters, you want to avoid that second hook as much as you can. Keeping your knee close to your elbow here is a good little strategy. But often enough, you just kind of want to shake the person off or roll them out. So here we're doing a little barrel roll, which is to avoid her from getting this second hook. I'm going to try to roll her to the other side, so that my body kind of blocks the second hook there, and she has to kind of either give up on the back take, or if she's quite good, she'll roll with me. So again, now the whole reason I'm doing that roll is so I can get my back to the floor, and if my back's on the floor, that means she can't take my back. Okay, but as you can see, she might get side control, she might get knee on belly or something. So it's not a bulletproof move, but it's better than just staying curled up over there, hoping that the hook doesn't go in. So just roll as fast as you can. Sometimes there she took her leg out, but she kept her leg in there. Maybe you could have stuffed the knee, taken half guard. But even side control is not too bad. You accept anything other than the person taking your back. Here's the same kind of technique. And we can do this both sides, regardless of what arm she has in. Again, I'm rolling there. This time she kept her hand in, and you can see what happens if she leaves the half guard in. Now you can see here the way I row is I go completely flat like this, and that's just so that if I go on my knees, there's usually a little gap for her to put her hook in. So you're far better off doing what we call a barrel roll instead of a normal turtle. And here I'm not stopping because she could ride this knee up and then chair sit to the other side. So I'm instantly trying to get my back to the mat and hoping that she loses her seatbelt and we end up in a guarding scenario. So both of these, they're basically the same move but different arm positioning. So on this one, she doesn't have the top hook and she has, this is the strong side. So it ends a little bit different because you can see her underhook kind of gets stuck there. And this one, she has strong side on this. I row. She's a bit too slow. So I was able to get my back to the mat. She loses her balance and I end up in half guard. So it's slightly two different moves, two different positionings. Next up, double underhooks. We don't see this very often in no-gi, but it's used quite a bit in the gi. One of the best controls you can have in terms of getting hooks in, etc. But the only downside to double underhooks is that you can't really choke the person. It's really good for control. So your usual counter for this, if they have double underhooks, your neck is kind of safe temporarily unless they take the arm out. So if you can trap both of the arms there, hold on, little freeze. So if you can trap both of their arms in position, you can bridge as high as you can and then start pushing their legs away. Now because they have double underhooks, you can choose what side you want to go to. They're both okay as long as they don't take their arm out. So be aware, if at any point one of this arm comes out, you should be ready to kind of intercept it on its way to your neck. And then we'd go back to either the strong side or the weak side counter. So that's our little positioning there. Oops. Now you can bridge from the strong side and the weak side as well. There's a couple of good things about bridging onto someone. It's way harder for them to choke you in certain scenarios. Especially if you're a lot bigger than the other person. Just bridging onto them makes them work quite hard to try to get your weight back down. Especially from double underhooks. Double overhooks is a bit different. So this is someone very anxious to choke you, where they bring both of their arms over like this, trying to lock up a rear naked choke or something. Now, if the choke is already on, obviously this technique isn't going to work. But if, for whatever reason, you're doing a good job defending at the start, and you've got access to the choking hand, and the person chooses to take their underhook out, while they still don't have a choke, you can slide down the body to try to escape here. So from here, I slide down the body. I use my elbows to clear the hooks. And now I'm too low on her body for her to finish any sort of choke there. And you can kind of escape. There. She goes choke, elbowed out, slide underneath, come up. It is a race. Again, not a lot of people go double overhooks straight away. They'll do some form of hand fighting before a choke. This is usually quite a beginner mistake to do, because you're just too anxious to choke the person. but you should know that it's quite an easy move to escape if they give up on the control to go for a choke, without the proper term of isolation or control to set up the choke. One other move that you need to be worried about is the armbar from the back. It's quite popular. So it's usually set up, and your indicator is usually the person brings their arm over the top of your head to stop pushing you down, and their legs also go to triple threat position, which we call. So here it is. That's the armbar. Now, there's a lot of early preventions, of course, to stop it from happening. You could bridge onto the person so that they can't get this leg out. But in terms of the latest one, or you're aware that the person's going for this armbar, I would say the rear naked choke and catching the hamstring is quite a good one. So you got caught off guard, the person's throwing the leg over, just make sure to grab the back of their knee there, rear naked choke your hands, and you can rip out like this, or you can attempt to kind of come up on top or stack the person. But just having the muscle memory of someone going to an armbar and you locking up your arms and grabbing the back of their knee like this, that's a good kind of discipline you should always have when someone's setting up an armbar. Boom. Then there's no secret for this. This is the standard armbar escape we kind of teach, where we push the back of the knee as much as we can with this arm to create a little bit of space so we can pull our elbow out safely. Now, another kind of like beginner's mistake that we see a lot is people setting up a rear naked choke the wrong way. This is where they expose their arm a little bit so you can grab their wrist and set up your escapes accordingly. Whenever you're kind of setting up a rear naked choke, we're doing the attack lessons. We don't want to just blindly grab our biceps and flap this arm around, because all the person needs to do is pull that arm to kind of stop the choke. And there I'm just doing the weak side escape that we did at the start. Now in terms of gis, there's a little bit more danger that you need to be aware of. All of those scenarios, they work for gi and no gi, all of these that I just showed. But in terms of gi, we need to know a little more in terms of counters. And the first one is, these are kind of late scenarios where the person already has a choke on us. So you can see the collar grip's already set, and she starts to engage you in the choke. Now, bow and arrow is a very popular choke where people grab your leg here and they start arching onto you, and it's quite horrible. So knowing the escape for this is quite good. Often they'll take a trouser grip over here or an underhook, and your escape towards pretty much half of chokes in jiu-jitsu is to go with the choke so you can kind of loop your head around, not against it. So here the only thing stopping me from going with her is this arm here. So I'm going to try to clear it, and I'm going to spin. And now she could follow you, she's going to try to roll underneath, but that's the standard escape you want to kind of go for if you can't break the collar. These are very late counters. I think this is the same armbar counter. Just take a look at the armbar again. Yeah, so that's just the rear naked choke escape that we did. this is just trying to explaining difference between the right kind of seatbelt position and the wrong one. From this image, you can see I have my choking arm on top of my underhooking side, which is generally the wrong way. The main reason is it gives access to my top arm fairly easy, you see? And now I can't choke her. I'm pretty stuck. So if you're ever going for any chokes, we can see from these videos over here, she's holding her choking arm underneath the underhooking side, so it's reinforcing this arm over here. So I have to get to this arm, I have to strip this grip first and then deal with the arm. That's just something to think about when you're doing these kind of escapes. The person has the wrong seatbelt, you're probably gonna end up with a strong side escape over here quite easily. So here, like this. So recapping, knowing the strong side and the weak side, that's your first goal in terms of beginning. Strong side, we're going to try to take the choking arm and loop it over our head. So seatbelt position. Forward to the strong side. Loop the arm over your head. And we're good. Weak side, back to the mat. Perfect. Only one hook. You're gonna try to kind of spin whatever direction the person doesn't have the hook with. So you're blocking the hook and you're gonna spin with a barrel roll. Try to protect your back. That's the main thing. Both sides gonna be the same escape. Of course, do be careful of your neck. I'm still have control of the choking arm there, so that nothing goes wrong. Double underhooks. This is where we're gonna bridge onto them as high as we can, put pressure, and choose a side to kind of escape. Any side will do. Double overhooks, like we said, we don't want, if you're attacking, we kind of never want this kind of scenario where we're rushing a choke. But if someone does do this to you, slide down their body, try to clear those hooks with your elbows, and maybe roll up on top. In terms of danger zones, we gotta watch out for the arm bar. So here, she sets up her arm bar, get your arms locked up, rear naked choke, and rip out if you can, or do any arm bar counter that you like. Then we go towards the gi over here. Now in terms of gi, all of the counters we did before are completely fine. One thing you're gonna have to watch out for is these collar grips. They can be like once they got the collar grip, you're not gonna probably do some of the escapes that we did. And if you do get choked, these are the moves that we want to watch out for. The most popular one is the bow and arrow, where they hook your leg and they start doing this. Try to break the grip and spin. That's your goal over there. Again, I'll show this one again because that's probably the one people get caught with the most. Break the grip. Nice. I don't think I filmed it, but if I couldn't break this grip, I'd be trying to loop my head under the choke there to try to escape. Again, it's the armbar version. Just rear naked choke, any armbar counter you like. And again, the beginner's levels, be aware of the person's seatbelt. If they don't have the seatbelt the correct way, instantly go to that choking arm, protect it. Same for the rear naked choke. If they're setting up the rear naked choke the wrong way, grab that arm and then do your underhooking kind of counter to avoid it. Awesome. Perfect. So that was our back escapes lesson. So now do a little breakdown of one of my rows over here, one of the students. Let's see if there's any back stuff that I want to look at. So this one, the rows we had, let's just see what happens and see the mistakes I did or the mistakes one of my students did. So here we get a start. Sorry, the quality is bad. Now here's a little interesting intro where he shoots for my leg. Now this happens to a lot of guard pullers usually. As he shoots for my leg, if I got worried about double leg here, I might have pulled guard, which should have been a mistake on my part, because I'll give him 2 points because he already get access to my arms. So instead, I kind of shoot and bring my knees down. That will kind of negate the takedown, and now I'm free to pull guard because I threatened a takedown at the same time. I try to go deep half here. We've been working a lot on passing, so I'm trying to give him lots of different guards. Now here, I'm playing a different style of deep half. He does a very good job sitting on my thigh here, as you can see. He goes towards my body here, puts pressure down. That makes my arm get stuck. But you can see my elbow is very close to my body here, so I can keep stuffing his knee back in. Well, I'm attempting to. Tries to get a crossface, tries to get a gift wrap, but unfortunately my arm is down here, so he can't get a gift wrap. He just realized it now, I think. And I'm just trying to get some space here to get. He does again the right counter, which is sitting on my thigh there, and he's kind of made it out. Ooh. So here I think he's gonna get swept. Nice recovery. Yes. So here, what he did in terms of mistakes, he had a great position here on me. I discussed this with him later, but all he needs to do here is wrist pin me to get a good position on me. He tries to go for the gift wrap again over here, but like I said, my arm is underneath his thigh, so he can't get the gift wrap anymore. I just roll him to the side. He gets off balance because he's trying to get that seatbelt position, so he didn't base in time. Now at this point, he can't lie underneath too much because I can roll up on top, which is what I'm tempting to do. And that was just the timing thing. He comes up, I follow him coming up, and I roll him to the other side, and he goes. He tries to go for a triangle here, which gives me over under access. And for over unders, he wants to get my head into this side over here, which he doesn't do. Oops. So I end up getting past his legs. A reset to the middle over here. I think I accept half guard. Now I'm dealing with his lasso guard. He does a lovely arm drag here. I kind of just accept it. Goes for the back. Now, as soon as he gets my back, you can see I go to the choking arm. I did the escape we just talked about. He rolls up on top. I get my back to the mat to avoid the back take. So that was the same sequence we were kind of viewing earlier. Again, he's trying to seatbelt over here, and I'm just fixated on his legs to try to push it. Crosses his feet to avoid the half guard. Very nice. And he's still working on this little arm wrap / choke at the same time here. I loop my head underneath, and we end up in this kind of deep half scenario here. I'm not sure what happened there. I think he gets off balanced because of his knee positioning. You can see he keeps getting himself swept. No, it's all because of this knee here. It's kind of in the wrong side. Managed to get double unders here. Try to bridge him off. And I end up with double unders in this case. Now double under counters, he should be instantly trying to get his feet down, putting pressure on my biceps, which he does, I think. Gets a foot on my hip. I try to stack him, doing a good job pushing me down. And he gets a knee in, which is perfect. That I have to back away now because he's successfully defended the double unders, and he pulls me into his close guard there. So we've been working on close guard a lot. Here I try to do a knee in kind of guard break. Now here I'm not doing a very good job keeping my elbow in positioning, so he could attack my elbow here. So he breaks the grip, does a little arm drag. My knee's still across. So now I try to pressure my way through into a knee slice. And I managed to break the grip. Now, here was... I felt him feeding my lapel underneath it. You guys can't see it. But he's passed the lapel underneath to this grip. So I know that if I pass towards this side, I might get single legged. So instead I cut my knee across to the other side and kind of accept the half guard on the other side. He gets his knee shield in place. Leg weave pass. I'm trying to get here. I grab the material on the trousers. And he keeps his knee shield right in place. You can see he's working on a collar choke over here of some sort. Managed to get a nice one leg X entry on us. And let's see what he goes for in the one leg X. Grabs my sleeve. That's a good grip he has there. And comes up on a double. Now, is that kind of a messy get up for him? He had great control over me, so I think he feels a little bit more patient here. He doesn't have an underhook, so he just came up to try to get a single. He could have underhooked my leg to come up. Could have set up a few more moves. So it causes a little scramble there. I pull guard here. I just sit. He goes for his passing. Again, I was trying to only play deep half on him because it's something he's been struggling with. We get into that same position again. Now I did tell him the moves to do afterwards, yeah? So hopefully in the next row we have you see the counters to these positions that I'm getting him on. So there again, he gets off balanced. I just ride up on top, straight to double unders. Step over to over unders. Again, he's not focusing on my head over here, but he does get a nice little lapel guard here to try to get the pressure off of me. And that's time. So a lot of things for him here to work on. Deep half is the main thing. The counters there. His one leg X, we need to get up properly. But in terms of big mistakes, those are the kind of ones that we're kind of looking at. But I'm pretty sure by the next row session, we kind of fix that. So you guys will get to see that. Awesome. So that is it for today. You guys saw some back escapes over here from today's class in that little session row that we had. I try to get more rows like that filmed so we can take a look and you can see people's progression throughout the lessons. We saw like Kiwi's passing the other days, and today we just saw one of the guys struggling with kind of deep half, so we're gonna work on deep half counters and we'll get back to you guys. Awesome. That is it for today. Hope you guys have a lovely week. Any questions, send me a message or whatever. And I'll see you on Friday. We'll do a bit of back attacks and then we'll look at some other rolling scenarios. Take it easy, everyone. Take care.